What's up, everybody? Brent here. Hope everybody's having an amazing Wednesday. Bitcoin up a bit today. Been an interesting past few weeks. How is everybody doing? Let me know in the chat. Is everybody learning Chinese? It's been in a crazy shift the past few weeks, obviously with BNB. We're going to talk about BNB season, whether I think it's here to stay. Obviously, going to talk about Bitcoin coiling up a little bit here, but I do think likely continues to move higher. Talk about obviously BNB season, how I'm playing it, whether I think we're seeing a major shift here, or everything will go back to Solana. We'll be talking about Bitcoin dominance and kind of what it's telling us about 2026, and why it's likely going to lead to a big bull market in 26. Definitely going to take chart requests. Make these streams are super interactive. I love to look at the chat the whole time, answering questions when it's time. But first, if you guys are here, let me know where you're at in the world. I see Maxwell, Zan, Jenny. If this is the first time on the stream, let me know first time in the stream in the chat. I do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Been doing these for about a year now. Everybody's been in the stream, been averaging about 100 viewers, 110, 120 viewers live every time. Grown pretty, it's pretty fun. We've caught the bottoms of Pengu, SPX, Pump, USDUC, a lot of these coins together, a lot of other great opportunities. Gonna extend the streaming to 4 times a week, I think, here pretty soon. But like I said, let me know where you guys are at in the stream. Let me know if this is the first time in. I see Crypto Blah. What's up, brother? But yeah, we're going to go over Bitcoin, going to go over everything going on. Always like to talk about what I'm doing in the market, kind of a lot of stuff that I've learned over the years. For those of you guys, maybe if you're new in the stream, my name is Bren. Been dabbling in the crypto market for about 9 or 10 years now. Started out with Forex back when about in what was it 2015. Quickly, fell in love with crypto, and the first 2021 bull market where I kind of found my first success, and been obsessed ever since. Been building a Telegram channel the last few years with my business partner Bossman, called Bossman Calls, which you guys, which I know a lot of you guys are from. But yeah, love doing the streaming stuff. Like I said, we've in these streams caught the bottoms of SPX, Pengu, a lot of these great plays over this year, where honestly the market's been very slow overall. Bitcoin's been moving up, but the overall meme and altcoin market's been very slow. We've still been able to kind of cook here on the streams together and kind of painting this vision for what I think 2026 is very likely going to be maybe the strongest period for alts and meme coins, at least, than crypto's ever seen. Again, due to a lot of great stuff that's happened this year, with the regulatory clarity, an administration in the White House that's completely kind of trying to support crypto so that America becomes this crypto capital of the world. A lot of great stuff, which again, kind of culminating to what I think 2026 is going to be a really exciting year. It's going to talk about a lot of stuff that you can be doing to kind of prepare yourself for that, potentially not just in plays and trade ideas, but in kind of profit taking and a lot of good stuff. So Naruto, what's up, brother? What's up, Soul J? What's up, Miss D? But before we get started, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and get to Bitcoin here. Bitcoin this week is coiling up. Obviously, came out of this bigger. Here, let me do this. Sorry. So Bitcoin obviously corrected the last few months from August to September. Got super, fearful there at the bottom on crypto Twitter. A lot of people are scared we're going to go a lot lower. And the last few weeks, Bitcoin's been absolutely ripping. Been talking about how again since July when this correction started, that this price action wise, Bitcoin's been moving very correctively, very on point with the past corrections we saw in June, in March, in May. Again, where we have these kind of coil up structures. So again, during these times, it's always the best time to DCA. So anybody who's DCA'd, especially into Bitcoin longs and into the majors, but especially memes and alts as well, I think over the next few months are going to be in strong profit. Again, just got to look what happens every time Bitcoin comes out of these big corrections. Just like uh, fall to summer to fall of last year, Bitcoin corrected. What is this? 20 to 30%. All the memes and alts came down hard, 80 to 90%, and then the ones that survived. Sorry, this correction down here. The ones that survived went on to 5 to 10x plus, and that was just in this 6 month period. In 2026, I think we're very possibly going to get 6 months plus of upside for Bitcoin in the majors. And in that case, I think especially the memes that haven't moved yet are going to go 10, 20, 30, 50x plus. So the people that are DCing not only during this time last month, but even right now, I think are going to do very well going into 26. So that's what I've been doing there. Sol, same kind of thing. More of a sharp correction here on Sol, but I do think it's going to continue to the upside. And again, my base case remains I think we're going to see a $300 Sol either in Q4 or very early on in 2026. And in a strong possibility where I think Bitcoin rips to 250K plus in the 20 into 2026, I think we could see $500 plus Sol. It's tough to say where something's going to go once it's in price discovery, but generally, I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to become evident to a lot of people that the 4 year Bitcoin cycle, which obviously right now is the fourth year after the halving, right? Usually, typically in the last the last two cycles in 2017 and in 2021, we top out at the end of the year and the end of the fourth year. I think that's not going to happen this time. I think very likely we're going to push through into 2026. And a lot of people who are kind of under the impression that we're going in that 4 year cycle are going to get a lot of FOMO. And that's where you're going to see a lot of people chasing a lot of stuff. And that's where the alts, the memes, everything's going to run up and very possibly going to spark a normie kind of retail mania that we haven't seen since 2021. And in that world, I think we're going to see a bull market that's maybe not as strong as 2017 or 2021. It doesn't have to be, right? Yes, things have matured, but I think again that chase mentality. Even if we get a little bit of retail, I think we're going to get a bull market that looks a lot more like that 2021 stuff, where a lot of stuff's running at once, versus the kind of just meme only or small scattered metas that we've got in the last few years. So I'm extremely bullish on Q4 and especially 2026. I think a lot of people, again, assuming we're going to top out here in 2021 or top out here at the end of the year, just like 21, are going to be surprised. It's going to create a lot of FOMO buying. That's kind of my base case here. The price action showing it. Again, the regulatory clarity. I don't know if you guys saw this week, but the SEC is talking about doing this exemption. The SEC, Paul Atkins reveals a plan to launch rulemaking for an innovation exemption. So essentially, what this is there's pretty much a lot of people in the U.S. for years have been scared to build anything in crypto because of the SEC and what they've done to come after companies. When Gensler was in there, because the laws really are not laid out for crypto. And what this is going to do is have an innovation exemption that kind of, for the companies that are doing stuff legit, allow them to experiment with stuff outside of the traditional securities laws. It allows the government to kind of study that and then form the new kind of framework that they're doing around crypto. So again, in layman's terms, again, the price action with these impulsive move off the bottoms here from Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol in April, plus great stuff in the background, regulatory clarity stuff. When I see both of these things together, I just remain very bullish for the next few months. What's up, Crypto Camo? How you doing? What's up, Space Faceless? What's up, Miss D? I already saw you. Naruto. Memes Believer, what's up? Just so you know, if you guys have any comments, questions, chart requests, when it's time, I'll definitely get to that as well. Sup, Bren? BNB going so up. What will happen to Sol? Yeah, we'll get into that right now, actually. Glad Bitcoin recovered. Sol is again at 227 now. Only stupid coin is stuck is Sui. When will Sui break to the upside? Yeah. Yeah, and if you guys could, before we get started, you guys could please like, comment, retweet, bookmark the stream. Always appreciated. And again, if you're just pulling up right now, let me know if you're the first time here in the stream. I do these streams twice a week for now. Usually Tuesdays and Fridays. We're going to come up with a new schedule here in the next few days, likely 4 times a week. I'll put that out there on Twitter and everything. But if this is your first time in the stream, go and let me know. What do I think about BNB season? Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. So BNB season obviously just came out of nowhere. I'm sure a lot of people might have saw the writing on the wall with CZ kind of doing the stuff with Aster. And I don't know if you guys saw Aster actually is listing meme coins on there. You can actually buy the meme coin for on Aster. So they're kind of um, making it a place where you can just buy spot meme coins as well, right? So, a lot of people probably saw the writing on the wall with CZ kind of talking about Aster, but all of a sudden yesterday, he tweeted, or maybe it was the day before yesterday, right? Less than 48 hours ago, he tweeted the one meme coin. What was it, Lebu, or what was it called again? Whenever he tweeted it, and that coin just obviously went absolutely nuts. Let's see, it went up like 70x in those few hours. Yeah, what was this coin called? Um, what was it called? Oh, Palu. Yeah, of course. Palu. Obviously, CZ tweeted the Palu, a picture with him like in the Palu like design, kind of in the Palu face, and then this coin went absolutely fucking nuts, 70x, I think it was, which is really interesting. This coin wasn't brand new. It was coin that I think one of you, or at least a few weeks ago, brought up on the stream to look at. Uh, Came out in October 4th, kind of came down almost 90% or something off this top here. Yeah, like 80%. Got the CZ tweet and then just went absolutely nuts. And what we've seen the past few days since then is kind of a resurgence of uh, action on BNB. And what it reminds me of is in 2021, 2020, 2021, if anybody was trading around there, BSC was actually the main chain for meme coins. It kind of was like what Sol was the last few years for meme coins back in the day. And besides Doge and Shib, there really wasn't too many like long term meme communities. A lot of pump and dumps. Kind of bundling wasn't really a thing back then, but it was more just like people would do honeypots and just straight rug the liquidity and stuff. But BNB was the place to go. So I'm not surprised that there is kind of a resurgence. Now, will BNB season continue? I think all signs pointing to just the volume. CZ and you'll hear me talk about so much on this streams, not even talking about this, but in with NFTs, with meme coins, especially. This is a game of attention. Meme coins are a game of attention. Really, any assets are a game of attention, even Bitcoin, right? It's the team. Bitcoin's different. Bitcoin's a whole movement and whatever behind it, but in meme coins and NFTs and stuff, it's all about the operator, which is the whether it be the founder or the core team, their ability to drive attention to whatever chain in this case, which is BSC or BNB, or an asset, an NFT, or whatever it may be. Okay, and CZ, as we've seen by that one tweet, can drive and very likely will continue to drive attention to the chain. I think again because he's incentivized to drive a lot of it seems like what they're doing intentionally or directly or indirectly is driving a lot of the Binance uh, volume that's on the SEX centralized exchange on chain to Aster and through BNB. So I think, in long story short, I think he's incentivized to continue to drive attention to these chains by whether it be promoting these different little meme coins. So I think it's very likely to continue. But that doesn't mean that I think Bitcoin or that we're going to see, remember how ETH kind of shifted to Sol in 23 and 24. And unless you're Mog or a few others, there's very few runners for that time. I don't necessarily think that's what it's going to be. I think kind of the theme we're talking about earlier, I think very likely we're going to get an influx of new capital from institutional and traditional funds and buyers as the regulations get clearer. But also, I think a normie retail mania is very likely coming in 2026. And in that world, I think that there's going to be enough volume to go around to where there's going to be runners on BSC and there's going to be runners on Sol, and probably ETH. To be fair, I think it's very likely going to be Sol and BSC. Um, but then also, I still think those Solana strong Coulter like movement memes that have been around for 6 months plus. The Gigas, the SPX, SPX is on ETH, but just those movement memes, regardless of the chains, I think are going to still dominate. And I think what we're going to enter in the next year is just that this blockchain world is going to become so interoperable. It's going to be so easy to just be able to bridge to this chain and just to trade between all of these chains that the liquidity is not going to be so fragmented. So in short, I think BNB season very likely continues. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you should be, or at least I'm not going to be selling all my soul, great soul movement memes or whatever that I've been accumulating. Because again, I think regardless of chain, the movement memes, the ones that have been around, the strong communities that are, people know, especially the gigas and the trolls, the stuff that people are familiar with, I think are going to fucking run regardless of chain. So I'm kind of a believer in both. I think Binance Smart Chain is going to continue to dominate. You should probably, again, if you're trading the newer stuff, especially, that's where your attention should be. I'm kind of taking the hybrid approach of still accumulating my Great Soul ETH and ETH bags while still playing with a smaller part of my port on BNB memes. I want to look at a few good BNB memes. Let me know in the chat like some of the stuff you've been trading on BNB. But I think genuinely like some of these great coins that you think have um, some great communities or like stuff that doesn't look super bundled and looks a little bit like it stands out. The way that it's been in the past, especially when the AI season, is you don't have to be brand new. You don't have to be super early to these coins. In fact, like Palu, for example, I think for me, just off the rip, I think if the BNB meme season is going to continue, which we just went over is very likely going to happen, that something like Palu, which is kind of this first runner, very likely continues to the upside. So maybe you don't get like a 30x off of Palu off the rip. You might. Maybe this thing goes to a billion. We've seen it before. But my point is, you can grab 2, 3, 5, 10x's off of these coins by waiting for them to correct, maybe waiting for attention to go off for a few hours or a few days, and catch these coins and still get nice 5 and 10x's without having to send your money at like sketchy coins, right? This is my bread and butter, and this is how we've caught Pump, for example. I'll go over a few of these that we've caught together on the stream that we absolutely have been cooks this year. Like Pump, for example, everybody was kind of fudding it on the way down here. We're talking about, despite the price going down, obviously Elon and their ability, again, to drive attention, all the resources that they had, we accumulated down here and caught this big move up. It took a little bit of patience, but we did that. We did that on same thing with Pengu. It's a little bit of a longer drawdown, but bought on the way down here, and obviously taking profit on the way up, pretty big. Same kind of thing here with Palu, but I think it's more of an accelerated on the lower time frames, where I think very likely, just looking at this chart right here, is very, very coiled. As you can see, instead of impulsive moves down, which are big red candles, those are what you don't want to get caught in. That is impulsive. That is very likely a longer term reversal. What we're seeing here is corrective. It's the opposite. Price is actually coiled up in this little kind of coil up structure where there's prices moving down, but more in a choppy like manner. What that tells me is that yes, we're moving down, but that there's people accumulating and that buy pressure or the next impulse is soon to take over to the upside. And we see this time and time again. I use these corrective structures on Bitcoin. For example, we're in one right now. It's where price is kind of coiled up before it moves higher. And I draw these little coil up structures to, again, represent those highs and lows that they form in between. So I'm actually forming, hours. I'm actually forming, sorry guys, I forgot to switch the screen. But as you can see here on Bitcoin, coil up structure, I draw these coil ups to, again, represent these bounces, these highs and lows that these corrective structures form. I'm actually forming a longer kind of course. It's going to be free. but that goes over this corrective structure stuff in detail, that we'll reference here on the stream soon. But yeah, like you can see here, corrective coil up structure before it moves higher. The best example is these bigger Bitcoin corrections that we've seen here in August, here in June. Same kind of thing that we're seeing here on Palu on the lower. No, that's not Palu. On the lower time frames. Um, so this is actually really interesting and a very, very fucking nice setup. And after the stream here, I'm definitely gonna buy. Hopefully, nobody fucking buy like $1 million of this shit right now. Nobody buy 1% of this shit right now, please. But um, if we could see a little bit of chop here, I think this is a very nice corrective coil up with Palu that I think is coiled to probably move higher in the coming days. And of course, the narrative's there. This is kind of the first runner on BSC. Like I said, I don't think there's any reason to think that this BSC um, kind of run, this Binance Smart Chain or BNB run is going to stop right away. Of course, stuff can change very quickly in crypto, but there's no reason to think that this is going to stop right now. And we're seeing very nice chart setups on coins that have run like Palu, which is now down 50%, but very coiled up. Not surprised again to see a coil up or a 50% correction after a 70x move, guys. That's fucking nuts. My kind of take around this BSC stuff too, guys, is that what CZ is doing with um, obviously pumping a lot of attention into BSC memes, but memes in general, I believe is going to lift all meme boats and grow the bigger meme pie. Again, it might start on BSC, but I think what 70x runners like this does is it brings a lot of attention around the world on these coins. A lot of new normie people who are on Binance or whatever. This creates a lot of attention around this, and all it would take is a couple more runners like this, or even smaller, to kind of ignite kind of a meme coin mania or bull run in general, which again might start on BSC, but I think is going to just grow the bigger pie and leak into Sol and ETH as well. So I think what CZ is doing, he'll never tell you, of course, oh, I'm trying to start a bull run, because maybe that's not his intentions, whatever. It's not a good look, but there's obviously a very advantageous for him, for Binance in general, and what he's trying to do with Aster, for there to be a influx of volume back into meme coins. You know, when people are trading meme coins, especially a mania of sorts, is very good for everything that he's doing, right? So I think CZ's doing. I'm kind of taking the take that yes, maybe it starts on BNB, but this is going to be good for memes in general. So went on a little bit of a rant, but I know a lot of people are wondering what's up with BNB and what's up with this and whether it's going to last, and whether it's going to kind of be only BNB. I think BSC is going to. I think this run's going to continue. There's going to be a lot of runners, a lot of great opportunities. Obviously, there's new 10 million, 20 million, 50 million runners popping up like every hour. Uh, but you can have some great opportunities in the newer coin, or the coins that are already out for a few days. I think we're going to come back here on Friday on this stream here. And if you guys are new to the stream, again, let me know. First time in the stream, let me know in the chat. We do these streams right now twice a week. Going to move to 4 times a week here soon. But I think we're going to come back here on Friday and see Palu a lot higher, or very likely getting close, or already finished up this corrective structure. And yeah, so I wanted to go over BNB season. We will go over some BNB runners and kind of some good setups here in a second, but I want to get to the chat. Send this stream to my friends. You're a good guy. Second time here. Wow. Shout out to you, Punked. Thank you, brother. Let me know. Are you in the United States, or where you coming from? First time here, Brand. The feeling is positive. That's what's up, Naruto. Are you from the Bossman channel, or let me know where you're at? How long does BSC season last? Um, I think again that CZ and what's going on there, he has very good incentive to continue this going. I don't know if he's going to continue to tweet random tickers, and if he does, um, with that being said, if he does start doing a lot of tickers and doing a lot of stuff like that, obviously each one he does is going to have a diminishing effect. But I think it's going to continue, and again, I think we're going to hit in Q4. or 2026, a lot of momentum overall with crypto, and we're just going to get an overflow of just like a really strong period for memes. So, how long does BSC season last? It's hard to say, but I think we're going to get an overall meme season, really kind of return to memes here over the next few months, and I think there's a good shot that Binance Smart Chain can, and BNB is a part of that. Winter is coming, NFT is coming, NFT winter is coming, NFT, yeah. I don't know. I think the NFT winter is kind of coming to the end. You can perp trade for and giggle on Aster. Yes, that's cool. Do you think Soul Leader should be following CZ playbook? That's a good question, man. I was actually reading a bit about this earlier, and I'm getting some water right now. If you guys could, while I'm doing that, like, comment, retweet, bookmark the stream. Always appreciated. But do I think the Soul Leaders will be following? Should be following CZ's playbook? No, I think CZ is kind of a one of a kind of figure that has the clout and like the power to kind of do what he's doing. I don't think the Solana guys should be doing that. I don't think I've seen the Solana guys totally and stuff kind of saying that memes are worthless and all that. I don't know if that approach is the necessarily the right way, but I don't necessarily think they should be doing what CZ's doing and tweeting tickers and doing all that. I think CZ himself, just his overall influence over the last 10 or so years in crypto, is kind of the only one who can do that in like a tasteful way, I think. So I don't know. I'm a big believer in and not or, just especially with L1s. Like I think Binance Smart Chain with what Binance has going is going to do very well because of the channels that Binance has. And then obviously you have Ethereum that's dominating in Wall Street. That's their stream of their chain of choice. And then you have Solana with the dApps and the payments. And I think all of these L1s are going to fucking have a place to not only like survive, but like thrive. Whereas I think it's going to be mostly Ethereum because the big stuff, the tokens, the contracts, the real estate, most of that's going to be on Ethereum. But a good chunk is going to be on Sol, and a good chunk of that's going to be on probably Sui and Ape. There's going to be enough block space demand. The world's going on chain that I think it's going to I think. Sorry, I was looking at something. Um, that was weird. That I think there's going to be enough block space demand to go around for a lot of these chains to do well. So, Binance Super Cycle BSC, yeah, him check these Chinese every coin flying. You've been going on that. Yeah, I'll look at that in a second. Thanks, Brent. I've been following you on Telegram. Thank you. I appreciate it. And he takes on Pump. Yeah, look at Pump real quick. I think Pump's going to continue the upside, essentially. I think again, meme coins are going to have a strong 26. I think we're just getting started with meme coins kind of heating up. Maybe the BSC thing is the might be the spark, but I'm very bullish on memes heading into 26. And Pump Fund is essentially the picks and shovels, the main meme coin infrastructure. Most of the meme coin stuff I think is going to a lot of it's going to stay on Solana. And Pump Fund is the infrastructure play behind that. If you believe meme coin and trench volume is going to continue the upside, then Pump Coin directly benefits from that with the flywheel, with everything that's going on there. Plus, you guys know if you've been on the stream the last few weeks how I feel about the CCM or Pump. Uh, I'm sorry, the how I feel about like the potential for the pump streaming and the token streaming again because of the creator rewards. Both of those things together, plus um, oops, plus this nice kind of corrective structure here on pump on the lower time frames as well. Obviously, you had the corrective coil up that it had in September. Bought a bit down here. I'm not taking any profits until pump is back well above the all-time highs. So we're kind of getting lower time frame confirmation here as well. I think pump is either bottomed or is very close and moves back above all-time highs in Q4 going into 2026. So I'm very bullish on pump for the same reason I'm bullish on meme coins. Pump is the infrastructure behind the biggest meme coin platform with the ability to maybe pump fund might be something way crazier that we can't even imagine yet, other than streaming and a meme coin platform. So I'm bullish on the team. I'm bullish on their war chest. I'm bullish on Alon's vision. from what I've seen in interviews and everything like that. So again, if you're kind of seeing a theme over the stream here, I really like to combine two things with my analysis. It's chart chart pretty much a nice chart setup, usually in some type of corrective chart setup or something like that. And then on top of that, narrative depends on what we're talking about, right? Here with a narrative or a flywheel, or we're talking about an infrastructure coin, or with a meme coin, it might be the movement, distribution, a lot of stuff like that. I like to combine chart plus fundamentals. When they come together, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of times people are only looking at the chart and paying attention to price action. Most of the time, not looking at the right things chart wise, I think. But most of the time, they just completely ignore the fundamentals or anything like that. So I like to combine when those two things come together. That's where you really get some great entries and opportunities. So pump, I think the narrative's there, the flywheel's there, plus a nice kind of corrective coil up on the lower time frames, and then obviously coming out of a bigger correction in September. So to answer your question, super bullish on pump. I will buy Paulo at 16 million also. Yeah, I really like Paulo here after looking at the chart. Check financial freedom looks good. That's another BSC coin. Okay, that's obviously not it. We'll see if this one will come up. I might not be able to find it. Yeah, you have to send me the ticker. First time. That's what's up, Blue. Let me know where you found us. The Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. Super happy to have you again. Us on the stream here. We've been been learning together, but as well as been doing well while most of the market has been sleeping with Pump, Pengu, some nice leverage plays. So more of that coming up. Always love doing this stream, and a lot of smart people in the chat here. Working together to cook, and especially right now, I want to talk about a few things that you can do apart from finding plays. Everybody can find a few plays, right? Every once in a while, even most of the time you'll have sure a lot of you guys have experienced this. You'll bring a friend into crypto, and all of a sudden he'll catch like a fucking 5x runner, beginner's luck, or we see this a lot in a lot of other things. People, it's not too hard to catch runners, but very few people are actually able to realize those gains, stay in the game, and kind of make money long term. We're going to go over a few things here in a second, apart from finding plays, to make sure you're completely dialed for what I think is going to be a really strong bull run. There's a few things you can dial, profit taking, a few other things to really set yourself apart, because very few people are actually able to come away from these bull runs making money. But we'll talk about that in a second. Friday's tomorrow, so yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm in the United States on Pacific Standard Time, so it is the 1 p.m. Here for me. So, yo, what's good, Brandon? What's up, Dragon? How you doing, brother? Last man calls gang. What's up, Tony? Can you do TA on that at BNB play? Can you give me the ticker, Carl? Because I can't copy that. I'm looking through a terminal where I can't copy that. You're a nice guy. I'm here for the last 3 months. Yes, Adita. You might be you and Rojan might be the fucking MVPs of the chat. You guys have been here for the last few months. And I love how you pull up on YouTube. That's actually a good time to say this. I'm gonna do a giveaway next week to kind of maybe incentivize some people to check us out on YouTube. But for the real fucking homies in the chat who've been here for a bit, you want to show some support, check me out on YouTube. Gonna come out with some longer form content on there soon, but we are streaming on there. The interface and like the chat may actually be a little bit better on there than X as of right now. So definitely pull up on there and subscribe. Let me know in the chat on there as well. Adidas actually pulled up on YouTube. On this thing we're using, EV Mux, I can see all the chats kind of combined in one. So and I'm thinking about doing. I'm not thinking about it. We're going to connect to either Twitch and or Kick as well. Let me know if you guys watch other streams. If you're mostly a Twitch or a Kick person, kind of still trying to decide that. Is Bull Run still coming this year? We have to wait till 26. Timing is always hard, especially when you're coming into the end of the year. But I think there's a very strong possibility with how we're already coming out of a big correction already for the last few months. Bitcoin, the way it looks, very bullish. Looks like it's going to head into all-time highs. And then, usually October through November are very strong times in the market. Who knows for sure, Jinx, but I think JT, but I think very likely we're going to move higher into Q4. I'm very bullish on Q4 for a lot of coins, especially the majors. Uh, I skipped one. What are your thoughts on Aster? I'm bullish on Aster. We'll go over that in a second. Brentford 2032 presidency. We got a question from Diamond. Uh, you said really thought live streams were boring. This otherwise. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Diamond Mitten says, with the increasing acceptance of the 4-year cycle, actually more pinned to the business cycle and rolling debt than blockchain technology. The business cycle getting pushed a year in 2021, 22 due to COVID related monetary policy and the liquidity growth peak not slated until 26. Do you think we're looking at the melt up a year later than everyone is expecting? Fucking great question, Diamond. So, yes, essentially, you went into great detail there. Probably said it way more eloquently than I could say it. But yes, I am of that. After again, watching long form interviews from experts, which if you want to learn the most about anything, you should be watching long form podcasts from uh, from experts and whatever you're trying to learn. But from watching people, Raoul Paul, people like that have been in the game for decades who understand the liquidity cycle and the business cycle. Yes, it does seem like that is the case, right? Everybody is so stuck on the 4-year cycle. I completely understand the last 3 cycles. Literally, it's pretty crazy. Like it's only 3, it's a weak trend, but all 3 of the last cycles ended where on the 4th year, right at the end of the year, uh, like November, December, always topped out and came down. Um, but again, if you look exactly like Diamond said, those 4-year halving cycles happen to always line up with the liquidity business cycle, all also peaking out at the same time. And if you look at just that liquidity business cycle data point, it does seem, again, a lot of the experts, the people who I've seen be very right over the years, um, are are pointing to that business cycle extending into 26. So I'm not an expert on that realm by any means. That part makes sense to me. But then you look at everything else about this cycle in 22 to 25, everything about it is different. From especially the price action. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the Bitcoin chart up really quick. You look at the price action of the last cycle, the last 2 cycles really, from 2015 to 2017, up only, big crash for 2 years. In 2020, up only for a year on Bitcoin, big crash for a year. Okay. And now what do we see in 2023 and onwards? We got big moves up, right? But there's a 6 month correction in between. Big moves up for 6 months, big 6 months correction in between. Big move up for 6 months, big 6 month correction in between. A lot of people just look at this chart and they just see up only. They just see 10x in a couple years. But they don't see is these big resets that we've had every 6 months. And what happens every time Bitcoin resets? Everybody who's been here for a year realizes this, a couple years. Meme coins come down. Everybody's sentiment becomes super bearish. Um, Leverage gets wiped out. It acts as a reset. Where in past cycles we didn't have that. We had up only euphoria for a year straight. We didn't have time for leverage to come down or for euphoria to come down. So just in the price action alone, we're seeing way different than 2021, with these acting as resets, where price is able to cool down. And I think that's going to allow us to extend higher, kind of like how the S&P 500 has for the last 15 years. You see the S&P 500 since 2009 has been up only with 6 month corrections in between, just like I showed you on Bitcoin. I think that's what Bitcoin's turning into. And then apart from that, last thing is that you're seeing the regulatory clarity. For the first time in the United States and really around the world, builders are not being afraid to build. Like these countries are literally not only fucking with crypto companies, but they're making it easy for them to build again, so they can get tax revenue and all that good stuff. So to answer your question, Mittens, yes, the liquidity business cycle does seem like it is going to push into 26. And then you just combine that with everything else I just went over, especially the price action. Nobody knows what's going to happen for sure, but all that information together and everything there tells me that very likely we're going to push into 2026 and see a very strong bull run in 2026. So I think everything in the stars are kind of aligning for that. But do you think meme mania will last 2026 Q1 and retail comes back then? Yes, I do think meme mania will last well into 2026, and that's probably when we do see retail come back. I don't know if you guys remember in the end of this year. I'm sorry, the end, November, kind of December of last year. There was the kind of chill guy meme coin came out, and that's sorry, I'm checking my sound really quick. Uh, let me see. Damn it, bro. Can you hear me? Okay. I just switched back to my mic, but if you guys remember in 2020 with the chill guy meta, there was like kind of a normie influx for a bit there, and then Bitcoin topped out. Trump kind of put the nail in the coffin for memes. I think we're going to get that this time, but we're going to get some follow through more in the 26 with the normies kind of coming back. But if you guys could retweet, like, comment, get out in the stream. I just switched my mic. Let me know if you guys could tell the difference from the audio there. It seemed like it was on my laptop mic. But JT says, is the bull run still coming this year? We're going to wait till 26. Yeah, I think I already answered that. I'm a YouTube subscriber. That's what's up. Thanks, Spaced. Financial freedom, Bren. Oh, okay. That's the coin you're talking about. Again, I need the... Oh, fuck. I guess that probably is the ticker. I'll check that right now. Can you check 4? So let me go to 4 really quick. Let's hit BSC. Oh, there's 5 too. 4 already at 235 million market cap. That's crazy. Yeah, so this one's been up only, but looks very healthy. These moves up. You see, even though these moves up have been pretty strong, every day or so it kind of pulls back. Same kind of thing as we were talking about with Bitcoin, right? Where every time price kind of pulls back, even on the lower time frames, it allows for euphoria to cool off, attention to cool off, and for it to continue to move up. Obviously, everybody loves being in a coin when it goes crazy and goes up a bunch, but a lot of times what comes up fast comes down just as quick. So you want to see coins move up over a couple week period, but every day or so, nice corrections like this is very healthy. And you'll see this a lot of times on the main runners on the chain, the top 2 to 3 runners, and how they're going to continue the upside is when they go up, but they kind of, show these nice kind of cool offs and corrections and continue to the upside. Every time this happens, the supply moves into more longer term holder hands, the people who are really believers in the coin, and kind of creates a higher floor. So 235 million, it's pretty crazy. I think if you're buying these BSC coins right now, you're kind of betting that the trend's going to continue. And I think you don't have to play like the brand new runners to make money on this. I think if this meta continues for the next few weeks, which like we were going over earlier, I think there's a good chance it does. Then I think buying these runners, even at 234 million, especially if you don't want to take as much risk, you might be able to get some nice 2 to 3, 4Xs off this if you're selling on the way up. Again, that's a different game than buying stuff when it's brand new. But I think if you're trying to go into this without having to like watch the fucking 1 minute chart all the time, I think for me, what I've done a lot of times is
maybe here, if I was looking at this, I would buy this one, and then you sell on the way up for a 2 or 3x. Kind of playing the bigger runners, kind of playing the bigger narrative. I'm sorry, kind of playing the bigger um, the runners on the older coins. You can kind of play it with size, and then again playing the newer coins, the brand new coins with the smaller party report. That's kind of how I'd play it. So 4 actually looks really good though. Looks coiled. I would expect if this BSC season continues, then 4 will probably continue on towards $1 billion. Appreciate it, King. Appreciate you. I mean, Mike is good. It's giving ASMR. That's crazy. Thoughts on Napoleon Hill law of attraction stuff? That's actually a great question too. What's up, Dragon? Good to see you here, bro. Um, so law of attraction, I actually around the same time I found crypto, when I was 20. Right now I'm 30, right? I started crypto where probably a lot of you guys are right now, or maybe you started around this age too. 20, 21 years old, I found Forex, and crypto. But around that same time, I started getting into like personal development, reading books, stuff like that. And law of attraction, the secret, I'm not the secret too, but the what's it called? Think and Grow Rich. I definitely read a lot, and my thoughts on that is I am definitely a believer that having a positive mental attitude and what you focus on, I think you get what you look for in the world. If you're focused on positive things, you're focused on growth, you're focused on getting better, you're focused on learning, generally that's what your mind's going to be focused on, and that's what you're generally going to get in life with enough focus. Same kind of thing on the opposite side, right? If you're looking at focusing on negative, you're always focusing on what could go wrong. You're always focusing on for the next fucked up thing to happen to you. Generally, that's what you're going to get out of life. And I think God or whatever created the world in such a way where your thoughts are very powerful, and in the sense that a positive mental attitude is key. Now, do I think that there's like any type of actual law of attraction where your thoughts attract like whatever, like there's any type of like vibration? I don't know about all that. I think a lot of that gets into like new age, like stuff like that. I don't know if your thoughts literally attract things to you like an actual fucking physical thing that you can be studied. But again, I think a positive mental attitude and focusing on growth and what you want out of life is very, very important. And I think generally a lot of it does seem like kind of magical. Like generally like the people who are just like positive and just like continue to persevere through negative stuff and just always have that positive mental attitude seem to like figure it out eventually, right? So I'm a big believer in personal development, and like focusing on, changing the way you're thinking can then change the way that your entire, way of life. As far as the law of attraction, secret type of stuff, I don't know if I'm a believer in there an actual being a physical like law of attraction. I think a lot of that gets into like new age mysticism shit. I don't know, but focusing on positive thinking and all that is definitely key. RWI or low fee? I think both are good. I think low fee is going to make a comeback. Brent, what are some of your other alts like AVAX? Yeah, let's go over some of those real quick. I'm going to keep it to an hour and 10 minutes today. But AVAX, I think generally AVAX is going to do well in 26. I think we're going to get a resurgence from a lot of these older alts that haven't had a run in several years. I think a lot of traditional investors with the regulatory clarity happening are going to come in and start looking at the top 10, top 20, stuff like that. And a lot of these older L1s are going to get a run. And I think AVAX moving up now, if and when it breaks above 65, like another 2x from here, I think it's going to be off to the races. So I think we might need to give this some time. But I think AVAX over the next 6 months to a year is way higher than it is now. Now we're on that major bigger coin vibe, I think another coin that may be a good kind of higher cap play on the BSC season is Cake. Cake is Pancake Swap. It's the biggest DEX on BSC. So generally, same kind of thing with Pump. If meme coins on Solana go higher, or more people are going to trade meme coins on Solana in 2026, then Pump Fund should go up. Same kind of thing with Cake. If people keep trading on BSC, I think it's a good play or a good way to get exposure to the overall BSC thing. So I think Cake could potentially, if you're a higher cap, you like trading higher cap or higher cap coins, and kind of a buy and hold person, this might be something you want to look at. Someone asked about Sui earlier. Super fucking coiled up. I think that's not a coincidence that we're seeing all of these strong alts like Sui, ETH, AVAX, a lot of them coming out of really strong or still in really strong corrective structures. XRP being another one, also coiled. Another one, which 6 months from now, I think is going to be starting its next impulse, kind of the similar to the move we got in June. I think we're going to get same kind of thing as that, like something like this. Where probably get that. Let's say whenever we start this move, so like this. Um, I think generally a lot of the times these moves up pretty similar, so I wouldn't be surprised to get again a move up to this next time closer to $4 to $5. And kind of my base case for the last few years is that XRP over the next few years, $10, I don't think is out of the question. And I think it's one of the ones that will get like an ETF and a lot of institutional kind of pressure. But Emery says, hey, just got here, never thought about BNB and still stuck in ETH and Sol. With that being said, any opinions on Look on Sol? I bought into it. Yeah. Yeah. BNB still stuck in ETH and Sol. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I think BNB, if you're like uh, yeah, I'll look at Sol here for in a second for you, Carl. But I think Emery I think more of your style. You're more probably more of a buy and hold guy with like myself. I think that with the BNB stuff is really good, and I think every people should focus on is if you're a kind of a lower cap, newer guy where you're trading the 100K under 1 million cap coins. In that sense, that's where all the action is right now. BSC, that's even the bigger coins. That's where all the action is. But I think with that being said, there's because all that attention is on BSC. There's some great opportunities in Sol and ETH to accumulate before this next explosion. Because I think again, the runners on all chains if it's a great coin and there's a good community behind it, a good movement behind it, whatever else is going for it, it's going to run in 26 and Q4 in 2026, regardless of chain, I think. So, but look on Sol. Yeah, I'll look on Sol for you. Um, is it this one? So, uh, let's see here. If it's this one, which I assume it is, I will say that this move down here that it had is not is was very impulsive, meaning very strong to the downside and doesn't necessarily suggest that's very corrective. This is again not necessarily not what you want to be. This is kind of not what you want to be caught in, right? That doesn't mean the coin's dead. But I will say the chart doesn't scream to me that it looks amazing or very corrective, versus something like we looked at a second ago with I just want to show you the difference. Palu. You see how it's super coiled up, where even though this is a 50% correction, this is nothing to scoff at, right? Like, well, not 50, like, yeah, maybe 30%, whatever. This is still a sizable correction, Emery, but you notice how it's kind of coiled up in this like choppy, like kind of coil up versus look where it's just straight down. This is a more of a healthy correction. We're looking at Palu. This suggests that people are still accumulating in big size. This tells me that there's a big, like just a kind of the opposite. With that being said, that doesn't mean this coin's completely dead. We've seen Pengu do something similar to this and come back. What I will say is, Look does seem to let's see. Look does seem to be sitting on a nice 6 month consolidation. And if it's going to reverse, this is kind of where you want to see it do it. Okay. It's a kind of like a double bottom where oftentimes you'll see before something really does put in a big reversal, it's going to kind of retest this low and kind of hold it for a while. So, best case scenario for Look is that with everything else kind of shifting over the next few months, which I think is going to happen, you want to see Look kind of chop around here for a little bit and then shift. Like if it gives you that clear shift to the upside and clears above, would probably be what, like 2x from here above this 0.05 consolidation. At that point, you know, okay, this is a consolidation kind of bottom and we're going to rip higher, right? Kind of the worst case scenario, for Look is just continues to go down and instead just continues to break through that low and just keeps moving down. Uh, Best this could be end up being, again, 6 months of consolidation, everything you want to be seeing, but you want to see it reverse down here. I hope this is the right look because it's only 200K market cap. But if this is the right one, it doesn't seem to have a lot of volume either. I'm just looking at that now, obviously. But if it's going to reverse, you want to see it reverse here. I'm a believer, dog. Yo, what's up, XO? X0? It only shows me your name or your so I'm sure you probably have a obvious name. I'm trying to think. Definitely recognize the PFP, but I appreciate you for hopping on, brother. Fellow Mogger. Can we TA on Soul? Yes, we looked at Soul earlier, but Soul to me, fuck. Did I just, no, it's right here. Soul to me is, let me go ahead and show you here. Oh, damn, I didn't even repost this. Let me see. Trying to pull up the Soul setup that we had posted. So I had this Soul setup here posted on September 30th. The nice move up earlier or later last month and kind of the retest of that low was obvious to me that we were going to get a big reversal. Again, kind of a double bottom, kind of like we were seeing there on Look potentially. And obviously we did reverse down there. Kind of a big pullback this week, but nothing, again, right here. This to me is not enough consolidation at all. Plus, kind of in the middle of the range. I knew this pullback very likely was just a short term kind of correction or pullback, even though it was sharp. I think very likely here we're going to move back to the upside, close above 230, and see Soul start to move towards $300. Kind of that's my next big target. But in the world where the memes, I'm sorry, in the world where we have a strong 26, maybe the strongest leg of this bull run yet, the sky's the limit for Soul. We could easily see it 2x the all-time high, the 500 to 1,000 range if it gets really crazy, if it gets to like 2017, 2021 levels. But I would say $300 is kind of my main next target where it clears all-time highs and reaches a nice, 25 to 30% above it. And then from there, we'll reevaluate. But generally, I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw in the last few years where Soul moves up and then sees these corrections every few months. If we continue to see that, that'll be healthy. But also, if we see a huge move to $500 to $600 in a short time, at that point, we know that very likely a bigger bear market top might be coming. But for now, I think everything's moving on very healthy, and I'm super bullish on Soul over the next few months. Nearly 600 people on live. Yeah, I didn't share the thing earlier, but I appreciate everybody's on here. Again, if it's the first time in the stream, let me know. We do these streams Tuesdays and Fridays during a time where the market's been pretty quiet overall, unless, overall, and it's been a pretty tough time. Even since April, we've been in here, have had guests from all different walks of life, like people like Max, who is a super, veteran in the space, kind of guiding us through the tariff time. We've been able to have some nice cooks and Pangu, the pumps, getting everything pretty much at the bottom here together, learning together. So if you're new here on the stream, let me know. Make sure to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Right now, we're doing Tuesdays and Fridays. Today, we did it on Wednesday, but Tuesdays and Fridays at around 11 a.m. PST. Going to get a solidified 4-day streaming schedule here coming up here probably this week, at the end of the week or this weekend. So look out for that. But if you're new here, welcome. Again, I'm super excited for the next couple of years. Going to continue to do these streams, expanding to different platforms, have cool guests like last week, kick charts from people from traders to maybe potential founders, stuff like that. Maybe more so on the meme coin side, stuff like that. If there's anybody you want to see on the stream, maybe yourself, you think you have a interesting story, whatever, let me know. Want to definitely do a lot of collabs this year. So to end the year. Cool. Thanks for all the details. I'm just starting my journey in crypto. Any advice or pro tip you want to wish? Yes, let's go ahead and do that really quickly as well. So right now, like I said a little bit ago, most people in crypto, or most people when they come into crypto can catch a play every once in a while. A lot of people get beginner's luck. Maybe they have luck for a long time, but very few people are able to realize those gains. Meaning, not very people come away with actually making money at the end of the bull runs, right? So right now, before entering this next very strong period, I think we're going to enter, there's a few things that you need to get dialed. Okay. Um, and again, I'm building some longer form content that goes over a lot of these stuff in 10, 20, 30-minute videos into these specific topics. And I actually have some content in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. If you search profit taking or whatever we're about to go into right now, if you look at that, there is already some content in there already. But the number one thing you can get dialed right now to separate yourself from most people is develop a profit taking system. Meaning, most people just vibe. They're just vibe trading. Like they're literally like, I'm just going to take profits whenever I feel like it, right? And a lot of the times what happens is your greed and your human emotion will whisper in your ear and tell you like, keep holding. Like you're going to make more money. Like you need another 2 or 3x. And what do we see time and time again? Most people keep holding in either two things. They round trip, which most of us, everybody's had a fucking terrible round tripping stories where, you bought something, you're up 10x, you think it's going to go another 3x, so you never sell and you round trip to zero or close to it. Or the second thing most people do is they sell everything. They might have a really strong position and conviction in something, but they sell everything for 2x and then it goes up another 50x in their face. If right now you can develop a profit taking system today that will help you eliminate those two main problems and increases the chances of you actually making money by like fucking exponentially, right? And that's by creating a profit taking system right now. Like literally after this stream or right now, taking a piece of paper, going to your notes app and writing out exactly what that is for you. I can share what that system is for me and kind of what I developed over the last few years after literally going through that same, round tripping issue. And that is by setting up profit taking uh, milestones every single time, right? So, for example, I trade bigger swing moves. So this might be look different for you if you're more of a high frequency trader. For me, whenever a coin goes up 3 to 5x, I'm taking off 25%. When it goes up another to 10x or 7 to 10x, I'm taking off another 25%. When it goes to 15x, I'm taking off another 25%. Right? What that allows us to do is lock in the gains, get risk free. Getting risk free allows your mental to clear up where you're not worried about losing money while still holding some of that coin in case it keeps going up. Right? It sounds simple, right? Like, oh yeah, take profits on the way up. But most people never fucking do it because they don't have a system set up on a piece of paper that tells them I must take profits at this mark. They just go vibe with their vibes and their vibes lead them to get wrecked, right? So that's what I would do right now. Take a profit taking system, set up when this, and you can set up take profits actually on Axiom or whatever. So that number two is you want to set up most of your portfolio in the investor bucket where you have at all times most of your portfolio, 40% plus in the Bitcoin Bitcoin, Sol, ETH, and stable coins. And again, what that's going to allow you to do is these big meme coin swings, you're not going to get completely wiped out. So that you can use 50% of that and use the other 50% to go into memes. And then even more on the micro, you want to use 5 to 10% of that at most to play in the pump fund trenches, the perps and all that. So you have most of your portfolio and stuff that has a very high chance of success. And the movement memes, the Giga SPX MOG, the stuff we talk about, and then use the other 5 to 10% on the higher risk stuff, the perps, the pump fund stuff, all that. And then 3, you bring brand new, you want to set yourself up mindset wise for success. Kind of like how Dragon was asking about positive mental attitude and stuff with the secret and law of attraction. Same kind of thing. You want to set yourself up to where you want to grind your ass off and work your ass off to learn every day in the micro, but in the macro, realize that just like fucking becoming a professional athlete, or not even becoming a professional, just becoming great at a sport, or becoming great at weightlifting, or becoming great at being an engineer or anything. This stuff takes fucking time and learning, especially in crypto when there's so many different variables that you want to work your ass off in the short term, but at the same time, uh, give yourself time and to realize, give yourself a year or two where all you do is focus on learning the skills, whether that be through the charts, through you know, looking at on-chain stuff, whether that be perps, whether that be NFTs, whatever the fuck it may be, focusing on those skills. And because once you learn those skills that are replicatable, you'll be able to make money forever, or at least until as long as the market's around, right? So that's what I would do. Patience, positive attitude, give yourself some time, and just show up every day. Show up on these streams, show up, on Crypto Twitter, learning every day, look at charts every day. But it's also about finding a balance, not obsessing over the day to day as well. So I hope that helps. And yeah, can I do TA on Aster? So yeah, Aster long that we had from 1.8 that I posted in the channel is still in profit. I think what this is kind of acting as on Aster is a bit of a kind of corrective consolidation, potentially an inverse head and shoulders here. I think generally Aster, with everything going on with CZ and how incentivized they are to continue money pumping into Aster, um, that I wouldn't be surprised to see it continue to grind up over the next several days. So if it's able to do this and hold above 1.8 here for a while, I think it's going to continue to grind back to the upside. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Aster at 10 billion market cap with crypto conditions, obviously. With crypto, fucking Bitcoin, ETH, Sol continuing to rip. Cap on Solana, yeah, I'll look at that for you. We looked at Palu a little bit earlier, but I'll look at that for you too. Because I think right now, Palu is like the cleanest setup. Obviously, it's the cleanest setup I'm seeing on BSC right now, which is obviously an obvious one. But so this is Cap. I assume this is what you're talking about. Definitely a very impulsive move, which is obviously not ideal. It is down 60, 75% now. It is consolidating. If it's able to hold this low here in the short term, it's been consolidating here for a day. Generally, this is the best case scenario you're going to see for Cap. It's able to hold this low, just like we're talking about for Look, and then it shifts back to the upside. If it's able to do that, it closes back above 0.002. I think it's off to the races. I don't know anything else about this coin other than looking at this chart. Kind of worst case scenario, and where I would just kind of not be. Worst case scenario is though it just continues down here. At that point, I would just need to see it. I'd probably want to see it consolidate for a couple days at least to confirm a bottom. But yeah, if it can shift above 0.002 and move up from there, it could be the bottom here. You'd have to let me know what else you like about the coin and all that. But Just looking at the chart, that's what I'd be looking at. Dude, yeah, that's good. I want to talk about Dude and then the strategy coins here to close it off. Today was a little bit more mellow. Gonna have a guest on Friday. I'll go ahead and announce that tomorrow. Again, if you guys have any suggestions or anybody you really want to see on the stream, I'll definitely try to get them on. Um, Anybody you would like to see on the trading realm or just you want to hear their story, let me know. Dude, what's up, Lil John? I was just informed right now of your question. I'll definitely get to that right now. But shout out to you on YouTube. If you guys, like I said, check us out on YouTube. Um, Going to put out some more long form content on there, but trying to build the live streaming set on there. Actually, YouTube as of right now is kind of a better uh, interface for the live streaming. So if you want to chat on there, the YouTube will definitely come into this same place. So, Lil John, I'll get to your question here in just a second. Dude actually, which is the coin behind Doodles, the Doodle kind of social currency, got a nice kind of move up from an Upbit listing. Obviously, Upbit's kind of a more low key exchange, but it's nice to see Dude move up like this. For those of you guys know, I'm very wow, nice 3x on here. This Doodle coin was actually airdropped to holders of the Doodle NFTs last year. I'm a very big believer that not only NFT brands but brands in general are going to launch tokens called social currencies around the brand. It kind of evangelizes true believers in the brand and gives them a financial kind of upside in your brand success. And I think we're going to see a lot of that going into 2026. And these NFT social currencies are kind of the first iterations of this. And I'm a big believer that there's going to be an NFT bull run probably in 25 and 26. I've been talking a lot about kind of the NFT winter. I don't know. I think the industry is kind of waiting on a catalyst. I don't know exactly what that catalyst is going to be. It could be a number of things. It could be a lot of a bigger necessary celebrity, a podcast, something launching an NFT collection in the mainstream that kind of creates enough of a buzz and a mania around NFTs again that pushes the V Friends, the Pudgies, the apes, the punks past like a point of momentum where things kind of push it into a bull run. I think that's what's coming. I think the NFT technology is going to be very influential. I think all different sports cards, video games, contracts, everything is going to be put into NFTs because of what the technology allows. And I think it's just a matter of time before we get a second NFT bull run. And in that case, I think the doodles, the animes actually looks amazing right now. Anime is the coin for Azuki. I think the anime is the Azukis, the Pudgies, the V Friends coin, if they ever launch one, stuff like that is going to do very well in this NFT bull run type of thing. So, dude, I think it looks really good. I think it probably continues to the upside. Obviously, never be afraid to take profits on the way up. But I like anime here. Uh, you know, really nice setup. So maybe if you're looking to get exposure to this NFT thesis that I'm talking about, potentially check out anime. I think it very likely does something like this. But I want to get to Emery says, "Oh, that is a wrong ticker, but chart is fairly aligned." Okay, I'm gonna look at yours right in a second here. Is Jojini fake? Jojini, okay. Some guy's faking your shit. Copping, he's biting your style. Do you see Soul pulling back to 200? Yeah, I have no idea where it's going to pull back to, but I think I think the bottom's very likely in on the lower time frames. Lil John, what's up, bro? What are your thoughts on XRP? Yeah, so Lil John, let me know in the chat, bro. By the way, if you haven't already, definitely check us out on X. If you're trying to learn about crypto in general, XRP, get in the XRP community, definitely check out X. You should definitely get a Twitter. And if you do, definitely add me on there. I'm at Bren Trades. Shoot me a DM. Super excited to see that you found us on YouTube. But let me go ahead and pull up XRP for you. Let me know in the chat though, are you like an XRP head? You've been trading it since 2021. Like, what's your journey been like with XRP? Let me pull up my chart though. Let's see. Where is it? I thought I had it open. Sorry, let me find the chart where I already had marked up. Huh. Oh, here it is. Sorry. So XRP. Yeah, XRP. So XRP right now on the higher time frames is looking amazing. Like, if for me, I don't know if you were tuning in earlier on in the stream, I'm a very big bull. I'm very bullish on crypto for 2026, especially a lot of these top 10 coins like XRP. Um, that, this is the exact setup that you want to be seeing for a potential kind of bullish period, right? Where a coin is correcting, but it's in this kind of corrective coil up, I like to call it, where price coils up, kind of in this kind of short little spring like coil up. We saw it down here in June. We saw it here in March. We saw it again in December. We've seen it in the past here. I think it's coiling up here on the chart, very likely to where it could come back down to maybe the low to the mid twos a little bit further, or it could have bottomed out here. But overall, I think the bottom is either in or very close for XRP. And by the end of Q4 into 2026, I think it's going to begin its next impulse to the upside. An impulse, for those of you guys that don't know, is a big move up in one direction. It's the big green candles at one given or like all in a row. Those are the moves that you want to be catching if you're long, and it's the moves you don't want to be caught in if you're you're holding something. I think that's what we're going to get here for XRP on this next leg up is the next impulse here in the next few months. So if you're an XRP believer, I this is definitely not a place that I would be selling. And maybe if you're an XRP buyer, this is a time you want to be accumulating coins in general. Obviously, when prices are down and attention is kind of down on it, not when prices are already moving up, right? So I really like XRP. Short term is always a mystery. Who knows? Could chop for a few more weeks. But generally, in the mid to long term, I'm very bullish on XRP to probably eventually hit $10. Now, guys, give me a second. Um, uh, Dan Henry says, my first time. Dane Henry, thank you, brother. Let me know where you found us, or let me know where you found me. Is it from the Telegram channel, on Twitter? Appreciate you being here, man. Richie Flame says, "What gonna ask you? Where the fuck is Max? The rebrand?" Yeah, Max. Actually, I don't know what happened to his Twitter. He had to make a new one. I talked to him a little bit ago. He seems like he's doing all right. Obviously, Max is just not all right. He's an absolute fucking legend. That guy is, was trading, stocks before our fucking parents, before a lot of your parents are probably born. And I say that in the most respectful way. This guy is like an absolute market fucking wizard. Has lived and traded in a very high way. He's a very high level, not in trading, investing at a very high level. Um, he told us stories about how he met Tom Cruise, how, obviously this guy's been on CNBC, Fox, all these different places, hundreds of different times. We're blessed to have him on stream. So hopefully have him on stream here to catch up with him. Just obviously such a blessing to have him on back last year or back earlier this year in April when almost everybody, there was a few of us that were still bullish back then. Max kind of literally nailed everything about how this was going to, the tariffs were going to blow over and this is going to create, an amazing buy opportunity, how this was going to be, the tariff war was going to be over quickly. And he absolutely nailed it. So, Max, to answer your question more specifically about the Twitter, though, I think he had to make a new Twitter. So if you search Mike Williams, you'll be able to find him. What about when it doesn't 3x? What about when it doesn't 3x? Are you talking about a meme coin? At that point, then obviously if the coin never goes up, then you don't make any money, right? But if a coin goes up 2x, you could always, put those stops at break even. But yeah, there's always a chance you don't make money, right? Or the trade isn't successful. Emery says round trip from 3K, 65K, and sold at 10K. Stressful as fuck. Are you talking about the market cap of the coin that you're in look? Um, Richie says ABTPP always be taking partial profit. Yes, exactly. Based. Yeah, you're based, Sarah. Sally Hefdiz. Yeah, I don't know what language that's in, but God bless you. I don't know what that means. Have listened Bren's journey on Britain's trade stream. Thank you for sharing it. I found myself in. Thank you. Did you skip the question? Why did you skip the question? Oh, my bad, bro. I didn't see your question. But yeah, it's been a quiet stream today. We're just going over some chart requests. We went over Bitcoin a bit ago. We'll check up on that in a second. Pally, though. Oops. Pally. Again, most of these, besides four and a few other ones, I don't know anything about them other than literally just the chart you're looking at. With that being said, this short little part right here from 5 a.m. till now does look very corrective and looks exactly like how 4 was moving. Remember, I said a second ago, the charts that are moving up very impulsively, but then have these nice choppy corrections every day or so, or every couple days. I'll tell you, this short term chart looks very impulsive, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it move back to all time highs in the short term. So, I'm not a big guy, a big derivatives guy. I don't know if Pally is like the female version of whatever the other one is, but yeah, I mean, price action looks pretty good. I'd take profits on the way up though, for sure. What do you think about Peanut and Fred? So Peanut and Fred are definitely not my top like accumulations, mostly because I'm a big movement meme guy. I like movement memes that are you don't really call them movement memes now. You don't even call them meme coins nowadays. A lot of them are memes, like Troll, Giga is a meme as well. But the reason I'm so bullish on Giga, SBX, MOG, ticker Bitcoin is because there's movements behind them. A lot of the times when a meme is just based around a singular animal, like Peanut or uh, what do you say, Fred, whatever, they're not as like a strong bet, or I don't really have as much conviction in those ones because again, these figures, Peanut, for example, can be very popular one day and then just not popular the next. It's very hard to keep attention on just a singular person. But movements like Gig, SPX, MOG, all those continue to keep attention for years on end, as we've seen. So Peanut, I will say it is on Binance and Coinbase. Obviously, normies recognize what Peanut is. Again, it's not my top bet, but just the way that this is looking, I wouldn't be surprised to see it chop out and then move higher. We've seen crazier stuff go back to all-time highs. So I don't know. It's not my top bet. It's not something I'm accumulating, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that play out. And the chart looks pretty decent. We've been consolidating since February, kind of correcting back into that low. Doesn't look impulsive at all. Looks like it's forming a bottom. Again, probably makes some type of move up here with the rest of the market sometime, in the near term future. What's up, though, Gabe? I appreciate you coming on, bro. Hope you're doing well. Got you, Brand. Appreciate that. I'll show up here every time I'm on the Telegram. Also, thanks, man. Yeah, we're trying to form a nice community here of, again, obviously, if we're able to dominate like with the pump, the SPX MOG, not MOG, pump, SPX, USDUC, some of these streamer coins, the Pengu, the coins that we're able to catch together early, I can't imagine what we're going to do together, um, you know, come when conditions are actually good. So I'm excited. Again, going to have more guests, turn this into a place where people can come in and learn, hopefully catch some, entries, good trade ideas, we can catch some nice longer swings together, but also have a place to hear people's stories, interview all that. I am gonna open up a way for you guys, probably through Twitter Space, but potentially through Discord as well. Let me know in the chat if there's a question that you, maybe not this time, potentially this time, but definitely next stream, if you'd be interested in coming up and asking your question live. I want to start doing that as well. Absolutely appreciate the insights. I appreciate you, Hunter. Absolutely loving this, bro. Can you have a look at Nub on Soul? Let me know. Yeah, let me look at Nub for you. What's up, Josh? Nice to see you, brother. Nub Cat. So Nub absolutely fucking ripped. It's nice to see because, if as you guys can see here, oops. As you guys can see, Nub, fuck, my bad. Nub went off, April of 24, just sent straight up like 100x or whatever this was in one day, and has been correcting until May of this year. Obviously, one that kind of you didn't hear a lot about. It was down 99%. And then I believe, I forgot what it was, some kind of exchange listing or something. I think maybe they bought the IP or something. Josh, you can let me know in the chat, bro. But um, this is another one. We can dissect this chart. What you can learn from this chart is, despite it being down 99%, it gave us this nice consolidation. Right now, if you're watching this stream, you hear me say this all the time, but the number one thing you're looking for a or for a reversal or a top or bottom to form is consolidation, meaning a bottom in this case, for a reversal to the upside. You want to see consolidation, a below or top or low hold for a couple weeks or a couple months at a time. For this, for example, Nub was down 90%, 99%, but held this low from April for 2 or 3 months and then ripped to the upside. Now it's sitting above this corrective channel and then forming another really tight, clean correction here since August as well. What this tells me is that Nub is very likely to rip with the rest of the market heading into 2025, and I think this is very healthy price action. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Nub rip back towards that all-time high. It is already was about a 2x when it was here in August. I wouldn't be surprised if it does that on that next leg, which again would be almost 100x for anybody who bought near the low here. So only at 30 million too. I think the sky's the limit for Nub. I honestly don't have enough Nub. I have maybe float like $5,000-$10,000 in Nub or something, which is great. But I wish I had a lot more than that at the bottom. There's just so many great coins that have been correcting over the last few months. But Josh, I really like the price action for Nub on the higher time frames, especially on the lower time frames. Everything's kind of checking out for a lot more upside, brother. So what's good, Cryptolicious? What's good, brother? Shout out to my USDUC guys. Honestly, USDUC, my favorite meme coin of this year. Like my favorite new meme coin of this movement meme of this year. Like showing the type of like strength that you don't see in a lot of movement memes, but especially one that was born like 6 or 7 months ago or whatever. So I'm super bullish on USDUC. Yeah, Max is great. You guys should definitely go and follow him on Twitter. I think he has a new Twitter by the same name, Mike Williams. Hope we'll do someday. Do some unstable, bro. I would love that. Let me know when you guys are doing any type of unstable spaces. Maybe we can have you here on Cryptolicious too and talk about your vision with USDUC and everything. But yeah, I'd love to do that. Let me know. GG or Min? Oh, I saw. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, let's go and look at the let's go and look at the timeline fucking drama, dude. That's funny. No, but I think a lot of the thing that's going around is that this monad card, a lot of people are trolling and pretending like they're selling it, and it's creating a lot of funny posts. But I will review the timeline for a little bit here before we go off, but I want to make sure I get your guys' questions. Thanks for the insights. Hype to go back and rewatch what I missed. Dude, shout out to you, Emery. You've been on here for the last few weeks, brother. Definitely DM me. You're definitely a brother in fucking V Friends, which I think is gonna be very exciting for the V Friends community over the next few months. For those of you guys don't know, we haven't talked too much about NFTs on this stream. We'll go into it more next stream, but I think there's a lot of signs pointing to a big resurgence in NFTs in the Q4 potentially Q 2026. Gary Vee and a lot of other people, myself, I've really been talking about it recently, but Gary Vee a long time ago talk about how there's going to be a big burst of the NFT bubble like there was in 21. The technology in the world's not ready for the valuations, but that eventually, because of the technology and what NFTs will allow people to do in real estate, in collectibles, and all these different places, that after the big winter, at some point there'd be a resurgence, and that the brands that stuck around and kept building are going to become very important brands. And a lot of these NFT floors are going to have a big kind of coming out of the ashes. And I think that's what we're kind of prepping for, whether that happens, in the next few months or it takes into 2026. I think all the signs are pointing to that. Regulation is going to play a big part of it. Generally, I think NFTs need some type of catalyst, and it could be anything. It could be a video game integrating NFTs, like a big one, or a million different things. But I think in the next few years for sure, but in the next few months, 6 months to a year, there's a lot of signs pointing to a big resurgence for NFTs. And anybody who's been around in that time knew that was a very fun time. But I think, we're essentially NFTs right now are digital collectibles. Eventually, I think they're going to be a lot of these NFTs. For example, Pudgy's just talking about, Luca talks about how he wants to IPO, bring the company public in a year. You don't think that they're going to, at least if they can, which I think the regulation will allow for them to give ownership of the actual company to these NFTs for the big Pudgy holders? I think that's stuff like that. We'll see that. And in that world, these original digital collectibles, just like the early Pokemon collectibles or the early Yu-Gi-Oh collectibles or the early whatever the fuck Disney collectibles, I think the NFT collections of these big brands are going to do very well over the next couple years and especially over the next 10 years. So obviously I'm not all in, but I have a very big concentrated bet in NFTs in VFriends specifically because, again, it comes down to, at the end of the day, the NFT collection or the IP that's going to be the most successful is the one that has the most competent and the most greatest leader or operator behind it. And Gary gets a lot of flack because he necessarily doesn't do things the same way as other Web3 brands have during the bear market. But I think he's very misunderstood in the way that people don't understand that he saw this NFT stuff coming and understands this industry and the technology and everything better than I think anybody. And a lot of this stuff is timing. VFriends is doing a lot of the stuff reading, the VFriends website, they just made it, put a privy wallet attached to it, making it really easy for people to buy NFTs. So I'm very bullish on the VFriends, the Pudgies, the Azukis, the Apes, the stuff like that. I think a lot of these brands are going to become some of the biggest brands in the world off of this second NFT bull run. So I'm excited. Try Abstract Stream to accumulate the XP. That's a great point. We were going to do that a few months back. Definitely need to get on that. If you guys aren't already, you should be definitely farming the Abstract airdrop. Yeah, I think Dude's going to go well. Not going to lie, I miss Max. Yeah, Max is great. When Bossman coming on, we'll do a Bossman stream eventually. Bossman and I have had on and off plans for a while to do a stream, kind of a consistent stream together, but we'll do it eventually. Yeah, we'll do my best to have Max on soon too. I'm sure he'll be down. I miss your Telegram stream, Brand. We used to interact and ask questions live. Yeah, if you guys want to do that, yo, what's good, Nigma? Dude, I'd love to do a stream with you, bro. I'll hit you up after the stream. Definitely love to have you on. I'm sure you guys saw I'd kick on last week, and the people love that, so they'd love to hear from you as well. So let's lock that in for like early next week, bro. Got into USDUC at 2 mil, even made a call on Twitter. Let's fucking go, dude. 2 mil? That's huge. I didn't get in until 7. Do I know anything about antics? Oh, yo, shout out to you, whoever asked that from YouTube. What's up, Lorenz? Yo, Lorenz, let me know, brother. I'm really curious. I'm definitely gonna answer your question right now, but let me know if how you found us on YouTube. Did it just pop up on your For You page or what the deal is? I'm just trying to see something. But antics, I'm gonna go ahead and look that up for you, bro. And that sounds familiar, but I'll give you my thoughts. It says antics is a future. Build your digital twin. Oh shit. So I don't know if this is crypto related, but it looks like this is helps you build like a mirrored clone version of yourself. Which my homie and my producer, the guy that kind of helps me with a lot of content stuff, my homie Can't Stop Me Now. I've been looking a lot into stuff like this. Looks like antics. Reimagining human interaction with hyper realistic digital twins. Now, let me know in the comments. Is this crypto related too? Um, Either way, this whole digital twin thing, I think every content creator, even a lot of the smaller, mid to small, I think every content creator, especially ones that are doing that, are going to have this digital twin thing. Right now, stay tuned for this. I'm really excited to show you guys this soon. I'm doing something, the digital twin stuff with the content will come in more when I have the face cam and do more of that kind of content, which look out for that soon. But right now I've essentially been loading a lot of my streams, my tweets, everything into an LLM like bot like this to essentially create another version of myself in that with the voice, to where essentially you can ask it questions just like you would ask me or whoever, and it'll answer back exactly like myself, the answer that I would give back. Again, trained on my content. So I think it's super fucking interesting. I'm gonna allow this to have this free for the community here soon to check out. But to answer your question, bro, I think this kind of stuff is the future. I think it's really fucking interesting. And I don't know, Lorenz, you can let me know in the comments too. Are you a content creator? If so, I think doing stuff like this, especially before other people do, is really kind of how you get a little bit of an edge. And potentially, I think it's just great to try all this different stuff because it's the future. I think this shit is incredibly fascinating, especially for people who, again, are content creators and just in general, kind of creating this digital version of yourself. It's fascinating. It's a crazy fucking time we're living in, man. Um, is this crypto related though? I'm gonna ask Grok. But yo, Lorenz, I really appreciate that question, bro. Let me know if you have any follow ups in the comments. If you aren't already, check us out on Twitter. That's where we run a lot of the streams at Bren Trades. Same name on there. Shoot me a DM, bro. Definitely, I want to talk more about chop it up with people about this type of stuff. It says ATIX Labs is a blockchain development company that specializes in building digitalized solutions as digital projects. Okay, so it is crypto related. Um, does it have a token? What does he say? Gotcha. Um, I'll look at Yepe for you. I asked about NFTs, the ones you've been accumulating. I've been accumulating a lot of wonky stonks. Some of the smaller Azuki collections, still some V friends. Um, oh, I really want to talk about the Flog NFTs. We'll do that in just a second. I want to get to Homeboy's question. I actually found out about USDUC from the Shillers and Bossman's comments. Dude, the Shillers and the bag workers in the comments, especially USDUC, are fucking serious. So you guys should check comments. Trust me, I do. Loren says I'm long in this Telegram. Watch some YouTube videos, and I don't know about the make a long time ago. Some pre-market sells with KI narrative in the coin. Maybe you can well. Okay, interesting. Um. Oh, you're in long in this Telegram. Are you talking about our Telegram? Or are you talking about the Telegram for ATIX? But appreciate the fucking question, bro. What's up? I'll look at Zara for you, bro. I didn't mean to skip your question, Gabe. And if I didn't get your coin yet and you want me to look at it, definitely spam it again. Sometimes I miss it. Um, Zera. So wow, this is. I assume Zera just came out. Uh, is this the most price action of any of the charts? Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, so it looks like Zera. You'd have to tell me a little bit about this coin in the chat. But with that being said, one of two things can happen here. Either this is going to act as a base, which a lot of times it does. It is good that it launched like kind of looks like a fair launch where it didn't get bundled up and go crazy at the beginning. Um, so either one of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to break this low and continue bleeding out until eventually it consolidates, finds its bottom, and potentially moves up. Or best case scenario is that this thing holds this low. Where the fuck is? Hold on, sorry. Um, it holds this low, kind of chops here, and then shifts, kind of forming a bigger double bottom, and then just goes to the moon. Sometimes we'll see that with these coins that consolidate for a few days, and then all of a sudden it catches some type of narrative or something, and then just rips. So best case scenario is you want to see it hold this low for a few more days and rip up back towards that all-time high. But you'd have to tell me more about it in the comments about why you kind of have so much conviction in it. Is it a what's it called? Like an AI play? What is Zera exactly? Let's look at it. Zera company formation. ZK turning your crypto into true digital cash. Private transfer, shielded balance, peer to peer. Interesting. Yeah, it looks like there's some names following it, some people that I know. I mean, sometimes these are the biggest cooks, the coins that are kind of low key right when they come out, and then they form kind of nice consolidation and then take off. So if you're a believer in this coin, this is when you want to be buying it. Obviously, during these quiet times, it's an offline way to exchange crypto. That's fascinating. It just migrated from money. Okay, that's fascinating. An offline way to exchange crypto. What do I think about Caspa and all these meme coins? Um, Caspa. I haven't heard Caspa in a minute. Um, so Caspa, to be, what's up? Yeah, Caspa. To be honest with you, like I don't know too much about. I've been following, um, but it looks really coiled on the higher time frames. Generally, when I see a nice coiled up higher time frame chart like this, I think it's going to move up eventually with the rest of the altcoins, the kind of the coins that the TradFi kind of crowd is going to be buying up over the next few years. But again, might not move for a little bit or for a while. But generally on the higher time frames, this does look coiled. I wouldn't be surprised over the next year or so if it continues, its move up because it had a strong 2023, correcting now, but looks pretty good on the higher time frames. Um, Seems like a clone of Cash. Okay. Brand, do you know what could be the benefits of migrating? Never understood them. Migrating is bearish. Yeah, you mean like migrating to see, yeah, I'm not like a liquidity expert. You mean migrating the liquidity pool and all that? Yeah, I know a lot of that is probably to incentivize the founders and the team behind the coin. I don't understand why they necessarily would. Usually it is bearish, like you said. Zcash, I mean. Oh, Zcash is more of a privacy coin. I think Caspa. Let's look at Zcash though. By the way, Zcash still exploding, still up today even. I think Zcash. Again, all of this is just pointing to I think a bigger alt run for a lot of these older coins that like kind of an alt season. A lot of these coins that haven't run in a long time. So I think Zcash, especially if it can push above 346, is going to continue to the upside. So congrats to anybody who caught that. I mean, you're up almost 10x now from just April of this year. But yeah, Zcash looks impulsive, probably continues. I want to review the timeline for a second. I'm going to get off in the next 5 minutes or so. Yo, shout out to anybody who is clipping the stream. Always appreciated. I will comment, retweet, show some engagement on them all the time. So definitely appreciate it. Feel free to like I said, feel free to clip. I'll definitely I'll shoot you a follow and engage in the clips for sure. Shout out to everybody who's new following today as well. See some cool fucking some names here. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I was showing here. Shout out to Mr. Recto friend. Shout out to you for fucking clipping. Anybody who's, like I said, feel free to clip, and I will probably run some type of clipping competition too here soon to give back to the clippers. BNB season here to stay. Just looking at the comments real quick. But unstable coin looks amazing here. Shout out to you, go. Let's see. Anything on the timeline we're missing right now? Jack Butcher has done it again. Token works. Damn, I missed that right now. No more fast flips. No more instant 100 sweep floors. No more. Oh, I have to read into this, but I guess the strategy coins. We don't have too much time to go into it. I'll go into it more next stream. But I think essentially the strategy coins, the token works strategy coins around these different NFT collections. For those of you guys haven't checked this out, I think it's super interesting. Essentially, way it works. Is the site down? That's weird. One second. Maybe I can do this. Yeah, it's not letting me open up, but essentially this company TokenWorks started these token protocols around these NFT collections where essentially the way it works is there's a token, and once there's a punk token, like a punk strategy token, Pudgy Penguin strategy token, and it's taking from the micro strategy type approach, kind of like the DATs, where essentially the protocol's main purpose apart from the token is to buy up the NFT collection. So essentially the way it works is the token's traded. As soon as the token, they attach a 10% fee to the token. As soon as the fees that are piled up get up to the price of the NFT, whatever the floor price of the NFT collection is, it buys the floor of the NFT, and it keeps doing this, and it lists the NFT 10% higher than the floor. And as soon as that NFT, the floor price moves up there, and that price is bought, the protocol takes that money that it got from selling the punk and buys back the coin and then burns it. So essentially, it's kind of a confusing mechanism, but what it comes down to is if you think the price of the floor or of the punks are going to go up, or whatever the NFT is going to go up, essentially it's a leveraged bet on those NFT collections. For me, I'm a big believer that there's going to be an NFT bull run in 26 or 27. In that world, these tokens attached to the NFT collections are going to go way higher. For example, if the punk floor goes to $1 million, I think the punk strategy coin right now, I think it's at like 100 million. I think that punk strategy coin goes into the billions easily. It's already starting to move up a bit. I think it goes into the billions. And what we're going to see again, it only is going to work. It's only going to work is if the NFT bull run happens and these NFTs move up organically. Okay, so I'm really bullish. I've been buying Punk strategy, the Pudgy strategy, stuff like that, the different collections that I'm bullish on the actual NFTs, in the time when these NFTs start moving back up, these token works coins are going to go up even more than the NFT. So these are just long-term buys. If you're not bullish on the NFTs, you don't really whatever, probably shouldn't buy them. But for me, I've been accumulating these ones for the next 3 to 6 months. I think they're going to be a lot higher than they are. What do you think about Fartcoin? I think Fartcoin's a great opportunity to buy. I think Fartcoin is an example of a great coin that has all the, still of a great community, still everything going for it, but people are just paying attention to other shit right now. So historically, these are always the best time to buy. And I think it's just doing another correction like it did last year or early on this year. And I think Fartcoin hits new all-time highs next year. Am I printing from BNB memes? To be honest, I haven't been playing a lot of the new runners yet. I've gotten some X's on some pullbacks of some stuff. I'm gonna be buying a lot of these bigger pullbacks today for what I think are going to be continuations. For example, right now, if you're looking at this stream and you're in Palu or you're looking at it, I think it's honestly correcting. It's probably the best setup that we looked at today. And the thing is these coins are already established. Like, you don't have to catch brand new coins every time to make money. I think you can buy some of these established names while they're in obvious corrections. And I think Palu is coiled up like crazy. And I think in the next few weeks it moves higher. So yeah, I'm really bullish on Palu. I'm going to be buying stuff like this today on these pullbacks. Yeah, that's the strategy token I was talking about, Spaced. And by the way, I'm going to do a 100 USDC giveaway here. After the stream, I'll post it under the comments of the stream as well. So I'll check the BSC stream. Again, I only meant to go for an hour today, but again, I just get so fucking locked in, chopping up with you guys and answering questions. So I'm going to end it here in a second. Like I said, let me know before I pull off if this is the first time you're here in the stream, whether it be on YouTube, wherever. Definitely can still see your comments. Let me know if it's the first time in the stream. Super fucking excited for the next few months, for this community here in the stream, but as well as just everybody in crypto who stuck around. I think next few months, next few years, but especially the next 6 months to a year are going to be fucking explosive, I think. So shout out to everybody who stuck around and is hanging out with us on these streams every week. BSC actually looks really fucking nice too, bro. God damn, you guys are serving me up some nice setups. Dude, not gonna lie, this is the kind of stuff you guys can look at, especially as it heats up. There's gonna be less and less of this, but we had the first initial run of BSC the last few days, and now we're getting some beautiful corrective coil ups. These are the ones I'm gonna be focusing on. The Palus, so I can capture nice 2, 3, 5x's with size. So this might actually look nicer than Palu. And I think I'm going to be accumulating some of this Binance Super Cycle. Let me know in the comments of stuff that you like or dislike about Binance Super Cycle and why I should be buying it or not. I like the way it looks right now. First time here. Shout out to you, Blue. Thank you for being here, man. Definitely turn on post notifications. Check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. Gonna make a nice 4-day stream schedule here coming up. Probably including a Twitter space as well. Thank you for being here, Blue. Targets on Dolly. I'll go and look at that for you for the last coin. But what I would tell you for targets for Dolly. See, it's tough. This thing's up only kind of right now. It is kind of moving pretty healthily, but I would just be taking profits on the way up here, bro. When you're in price discovery, it's impossible to know how long a coin's going to be going. But it is up. It's up 10x, right? So just today. So just take profits on the way up here, bro. Like 20, if it goes up again, take another 25%, so on and so forth. It would really just depend how early you got into the coin, dude. Hey, Gabe's in the YouTube now. That's what's up, bro. Thank you, Gabe. It always helps. We're trying to get the stream and the algorithm, and it always helps when you guys move over to there and show some love on there. So thank you, Gabe. I really appreciate that, brother. But yeah, I don't really have too many targets. It's kind of impossible to know how high something's going to move in price discovery. But yeah, with that, guys, as long as you guys don't have any pressing questions, like I said, be back on the stream here on Friday with a guest. I'll go ahead and tease that there tomorrow. But I think the best is yet to come, guys. I think right now is the perfect time to DCA into all the great coins. Right now, again, the way I'm playing it with the BSC stuff is definitely playing a lot of the newer stuff while not taking my eye off the ball with a lot of these great coins and these corrections. Because just like last year in 2023, the great coins, despite the chain that they're on, are going to go back to all-time highs, and I think there's just the freest fucking entries right now in Giga, SPX, Mog, all these coins. So I'm kind of doing the hybrid approach, and I think Gainsey actually puts it here. I'll end it on this, but Gainsey kind of actually kind
You think it's
of
a good idea for Pump to enable a
vocalizes what I'm saying here in this
No, man.
clip.
You think it's a good idea for Pump to enable a No, man. If Pump Fund makes a perpetual decentralized exchange, people are going to start losing money on memes, and I really don't want to see that happen. I would much rather you buy memes, hold them, not get liquidated. And if the meme should ever run, you make money and you print on it and sell. The thing of it is I think it's in your best interest to bridge not only Pump Fund. You need money on Astra, you need money on Plasma, you're going to need money on Monad, you're going to need money on BNB. Here's the main thing, though. Retail always comes back to Solana. You have to understand this. No matter what happens, it always comes back to Pump Fund. Pump Fund is literally forever, in my opinion. Pump Fund is it. That doesn't mean you can ignore other fucking ecosystems. Every time a new ecosystem runs, you have to jump to it. You have to. If you want to make money, you have to. This is what people do. There's no way to avoid the rotational meta. People will rotate. You must rotate before them. Then you must dump on them. Then you must return back to Pump Fund, buy the original shit, buy neat, unstable, fart, whatever else. PFP maybe. Bro, PFP is low-key a runner, isn't it? I really wish I bought that shit.
I agree mostly with him that I think a lot of these soul core movement memes are not only going to survive this period, but actually be the coins that run the hardest and just the most fun, man. I really have fun being part of these communities and see them grow. It's amazing to see what Unstable Coin has done. From people in the chat, I forgot who said it. Got it at 2 million. I bought a bunch at 7 mil. I think that one has a real potential to go to 1 billion plus. So yeah, I mostly agree with Gainsey here. It's about playing the other ecosystems, taking profits back into kind of more solidified stuff. But with that being said, guys, let me check the chat one more time. Doesn't seem like there's anything else. So with that, guys, turn on post notifications. If you have any suggestions, anything you want to see on the stream, just want to show some love, definitely shoot me a DM. And love chopping up with you guys. Be back on Friday at 11 a.m. PST. Look out for a 4-day streaming schedule coming up. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and see you on Friday. Thanks, Carl.